All right. Our topic was regional officer communication, and what we found out that there is not a whole lot of it. However, we did find that there were some best practices we discussed, which I'd like to go over. Probably the main thing that we found in terms of communication was leadership. As long as you have that particular individual who's understanding their role and their responsibility to ensure there's clear communication. One way you can do it is to have regular teleconferences. Regular teleconferences, or when they're needed. We had a region that has an account with AT&T, and they just schedule, dial in, and they're ready to go to have their particular conference call. What's been mentioned before, we've had Google Docs. Now we have another option potentially, which is a Collaborate site, where you can create an infrastructure to ensure that there's clear communication, at least with documents. There might be some, what I've found with Collaborate, that there's excellent communication related to discussions. I can start a particular thread of a discussion, and that thread can be worked on by everybody. And there's probably potential for the Collaborate site to create particular sites just for the regions to have their own types of communication versus the regional one completely. So that's an option. Email, of course, is an option. We found that many had successful communication at conferences. For example, here. For example, at their regional meeting. It was very important to ensure the officer, probably and likely the chair, to ensure that they create an agenda. So there is something to talk about. Oftentimes what we discussed was the most important thing of a region oftentimes is the meeting, which oftentimes can have a whole different infrastructure than what is actually happening under the regional officers group. So that's something to keep in mind, is that the regional officer needs to ensure that there's good communication and agenda, things to be talking about. New programs is a challenge at a region, and trying to communicate and ensure that their success oftentimes really results again in leadership and those kinds of things. Summer, we had one group that has a summer face-to-face meeting. Benefits and drawbacks. One of them, it's face-to-face. You get to focus. You get to really get down and get to know people. One of the drawbacks is that it is an expense. We talked about a webinar format where we have a moderator, where you can create a meeting online. You don't necessarily need to see people. But as long as there's a moderator ensuring that this meeting is continuing, that's been successful for our international region.